Hi, and welcome to 15. I'm Dan Wade, as ever. I'm joined by Luke Oddy.
Doesn't sound quite as good when you do it.
How dare you?
Christmas treat will let Dan start the show. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the Christmas special. Me and Dan are in the same building, but not in the same room. It really is the Christmas
audio
spirit.
Would be terrible. Yes, my mic. 10 minutes.
And if there's one podcast that knows about bad audio, it's us.
Oh.
Episode
and
one.
And audio now, and video.
So this
too many critics have said that we've dropped the production, and they'd be right.
So a Christmas special this week. We've decided to pick 3 festive films, then remembered all of the films are shit. So that's coming up. But before that, we're going to talk about an animation
we've really
film.
captured the spirit of Christmas by Luke wearing all black and I wearing all white, the two most Christmassy of colours.
So Dan, last week, Spirited Away won out on the animated special, and we decided to watch that. I was told I wasn't allowed to watch it on 1.25 speed because Dan was in the same room as me. We had to watch it together. Dan, what did you think?
I nodded off.
He did. Dan fell asleep and missed a good 10 minutes of it. Luckily, he's seen it before, so he just had to be re-jogged. What do you think of it, Dan?
I think this film has a lot of very good cinematography and quite daring animation work in as much as cinematography, really. I think it really excels there. It tries to make abstract and make every kind of, you could take a lot of stills from this and they'd be really quite interesting and images that keep on giving. And I think that is perhaps where the strength of this film is.
I'm so glad you picked up on that. This, to me, feels like an animated film I've never seen before. Like, it's sophisticated. These are camera angles taken up like you'd see in a live action film. Do you know what I mean? It's allowed to develop like a live action film. There's no sense of urgency, not in a bad way. Well, maybe in a bad way, but we'll come to that. But in terms of its visual, this is shot like a real Hollywood film in a way. And that's because in Japan, Japanese cinema and animation film, there's not a stigma attached to it. It's on the same level, if not higher than live action cinema. And it's taken as seriously. And the best directors in the world are in that field.
But I think that's because of the scope and level of your imagination. Like, I think Western audiences sort of get a glimpse of that in sort of Wes Anderson's work, where he's taking a medium and converting it into mainstream, high end. But like you say, it's there. That's just part and parcel. They go together.
That's just for barking in a minute. That's just for the YouTube watchers, that one. If you do want to watch this on YouTube, links in the bio as always. So the story itself then, it featured quite a few bizarre characters, but I think that led to really capture the imagination. Do you know what I mean? These characters that almost feels like the innocence of youth can think up. Yeah,
that's good. And because I guess you're viewing it through the eyes of, Sen as she becomes. I guess that kind of works. They were very larger than life. Is that
sorry, that's not lag on Dan's end there. We're not having the internet on that one. I was just taking his time with that one.
I took my time to think of the right word and went with larger than life.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They are
not caricature, but I guess caricature.
How do you mean?
Well, like the kind of toads, all these toads who are working there, it's that idea of a kind of fry cook. If it was made into an animated character, it would probably be like a slovenly toad. They're kind of bloated, and it's that kind of menial work that sort of doesn't mean a lot. It's quite hot and sweaty. It's that sort of creature.
Yeah, the creatures are pretty much...
The witch is a big old witch, flies off like a raven, big hooked nose.
And they try and subvert that. They make these sort of weird and wonderful creatures, but they aren't the unusual ones in this realm. Do you know what I mean? The humans are the ones to be stared at. Do you know what I mean? When at one point, someone's been helping the young girl, the protagonist, through the building, and a monster comes up to her and says, "You reek of human. I can smell it. It smells awful. There must have been a human here."
Yeah.
They quite cleverly try and invert that. let's talk about wider picture of the whole then on this film. Did you enjoy the film? What are your feelings about some of the characters, some about the structure?
I think I think it's too long, actually. I do think that on second watching, the fact I fell asleep, it's a very kind of genteel approach, and I get it. It's meant to be quite zen and peaceful, and
you don't get much change from 2 hours, do you? It's about 2 hours, this film.
And it's meant to be a film which you kind of watch and appreciate and are viewing, but as ever, that's a balance, isn't it, when you're talking about cinema and films, of storytelling and story craft. And this perhaps wanes a little bit and becomes a bit too long and a bit bloated at times, and you're a bit, I mean, you made a comment, didn't you? I mean, this could be a half an hour film that's been stretched out in terms of actual core bare bones.
But to me, it felt very similar in a way, just the way that it tells its stories in like these long, chunky vignettes. Sort of like it's drew parallels to like the epic poems, like Greek classics. Like they had like arduous challenges, something like Odysseus or whatever Aeneid would have. But they take the form in these like characteristic vignettes. So the first one, she's got the stinky monster. She's got to help the big baby. The witch's sister, and they sort of come grouped together almost like chapters. And so that was quite a nice, interesting way of telling a story. It makes sense to tell a child a story in that way.
You could almost, in fact, you've probably said it, the witch's sister, the big baby, you've almost broken it down into kind of quite nice, like fabulistic titles.
I imagine that's how it was storyboarded. But yeah, that's very true. It's a good point you make there. It is sort of fabulistic, isn't it?
I mean, I think what's quite good is the kind of the messages are very clear, but it's not done in a I don't want to use that word, actually I'm going to use it later, but not done in a sort of
I like ham-fisted. That's a good word.
Yeah, but it's not kind of overwrought or done it's done quite subtly, like the greed of the parents at the beginning.
Oh yeah, it felt earnest, definitely.
Yeah, that's it. Their transformation to these kind of pigs was very grotesque and very, the kind of disgustingness of the river spirit when he comes in initially, and then they pull out all this sewage, and there's kind of clear, identifiable kind of human waste, debris, and and then he becomes clean, and he's this kind of wizened old man, but kind of noble and wise. All these things kind of felt very, earnest is the word. But they were on the nose without being on the nose, if you sort of mean.
There's a few poor moments in there. I guess this is something that just doesn't come across culturally in terms of humour. Well, maybe it does, but sort of people do watch You've Been Framed. But these sort of boring slapstick moments, luckily they sort of fizzled out as the film went on, but there was a hell of a lot of them towards the start there, of running down the stairs and smacking into a wall and like slipping on your arse.
Is that meant to make her endearing, though? Are you meant to sort of...
I guess so, but it did get a bit frustrating. I remember it's a completely different film, but I remember watching Mr. Bean's Holiday and getting so annoyed that not even the most menial task was easy. Like everything was so hard and just frustrating to watch. And it had those sort of weird Mr. Bean tropes where something's gone wrong again. Luckily, it sort of came out to that. And like you say, it got more fabulistic as film went on. It felt like a wise film, which I quite enjoyed. Like something like the wiseness that the adult gains over time, they want to give to a child, but they do it in the form of a film that they can like digest. I thought it was really nicely done and handled. Like the stuff to do with the morals. So obviously the moral of money and greed was there, which is big. There was obsession with the money. That's why they all worked in a bathhouse, quite a lower level job. Rich people come in, you literally bathe them, and they give you money, and that money leads to greed, and that greed leads to downfall. As you see with the characters, but then it also shows that if you don't care as much, then it has no effect, and it sort of destroys these characters, like the no-faced creature, who obviously wanted the sort of love and affection of something, or friendship of the protagonist.
Wanted something, didn't it?
Yeah, just wanted someone to connect with it, not just to want it for the money.
Do you not? I just want to draw on something you've said there, actually, and it ties in a couple of those threads in that. The bit in the bathhouse where she slips down the side of the and then the bath overflows, and then the river spirit goes in, and then she's wading through the mud to get to him. Because you made the comment when we watched the film about, she's fallen down again, knew that was going to happen. And then when she was walking back, it's funny you say that. As I watched that, I almost visualized it almost in a sort of epic way. And you can imagine that in a book, and the story would talk about her falling down and slipping, and then this struggle to climb back up and using the mud, using her adversity this time to kind of overcome a challenge. And I think actually you're right in that if they'd made less of those kind of slapstick moments and made them less humorous, then perhaps there would have been more poignancy to that, and there would have been a more sort of earnest or sincere kind of loop and link there.
Like going on a bear hunt.
Like going on a bear hunt.
Now we're talking. One thing I want to touch on, I liked the bathhouse. I think that linked in again to talk about Greek and stuff, like the importance of hospitality in Japanese culture. Do you mean that's like that's sort of Xenia is in Greek culture?
Screaming it off.
But I do think it didn't quite capture enormity, like in fantasy. I think that's something that you can get. You feel like a full world is created, but in this, it's literally a bridge to a bathhouse, and there's a railway track, and that's it. And I assume it's high design. The filmmakers in question are very capable and masters of their craft, but it just felt like an opportunity missed there. You created all these monsters who they're sort of floating from different worlds whenever we go to theirs, and that wasn't really explored at all. And especially in a film where it was long and then it was wrapped up very quickly, and you kind of think, what's just happened here? These sort of things weren't explored. It just felt pacing felt off for me in the second hour. It did. And
I think you're right, because there was a moment when they were on the train and there were all these kind of almost like New York gangsters sat on the train. And there was a moment of me thinking, they've got an interesting story. I wonder where they're going. And also all that talk about the river, Hayaku, what was he called?
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be able to help you with that, but yeah.
Yeah. But
Haku, something like
that. The Dragon King, his river being boarded up and built upon and destroyed. There's a story there, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, obviously it's by design that the filmmakers didn't want to talk about that, but maybe you're right in a more, or maybe just as a fun little token, acknowledgement of their worlds and their...
Yeah, and then speaking of nods, it almost ended in quite a nice little way. She eventually leaves this universe and is a small question of, did she imagine in that, which it was not really that, but you had a room for an ambiguous ending there. And there's quite a nice little flash of the sun on her bauble, a bauble that she got from this universe from the witch. And you think, oh, that's quite nice. And she walks into a dark tunnel. You think that'd be quite a nice way to end it. No, they come out the dark tunnel. The parents astonished at this car with dust and stuff. Fair enough, bit of leaves and dust. You now know it wasn't the universe. And then you have a long shot stayed on her center frame. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Bobble flashes twice, end. So then to really ram it home, if you weren't sure, aren't we clever? It was a universe after all. You know what I mean? But we had it. There's no need for this sort of stuff. This is what a kid would appreciate. If they get that the first time, maybe they don't get that the first time they watch it, fine, whatever. Many years later, they'd appreciate those little touches and go, oh, that's something I didn't quite see and understand at the time and comprehend, but now I do. And that shows growth with themselves, and the film stays with them and becomes more important to them. But they've missed that chance there.
Yeah, you're right. The ending did feel weak.
It felt rushed. The whole ending felt rushed.
And also the whole thing of don't look back, and she goes to look back and then she doesn't. It was all kind of, it all worked.
But I mean, I'm not entirely sure of a reason for that, but something that comes to mind is the budget for this film is absolutely massive. Like for an animation film from 20 years ago, I can't quite remember what it is, but it's like way bigger than you'd expect.
We do our research here, folks.
It's around 50. It's around 50 million. It's something around 50. I think it's 41 million or something. But that's crazy.
Yeah, that is expensive.
Okay, what are you gonna give it out of 10?
Didn't you say as well that it's the highest grossing animated film in Japanese box office?
I think it's just the highest grossing Japanese film ever.
Really?
Yeah.
20 years, folks.
And it felt okay, but this is the sort of film you'd regularly see in best films of the 21st century lists, which kind of blows me away a bit. The reason for that, let's be honest, is because you want to have a film from Japanese cinema in there to really just say what incredible work comes from there. And you get one film that everyone kind of likes. And so it's like everyone's 7 out of 10. And they think, well, everyone loves it. That's the film we push up. You know what I mean? This is the sort of film where I reckon if you ask genuine connoisseurs of like manga and like anime and say, what's the best film of the last 21st century? I think they pick other films, you know what I mean? This would be like a regular top 10.
They'd say Mulholland Drive.
It seems like a can hear Humphrey.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Anyway, just one final thing on this film. This is the sort of film that if it was made today would be ruined. And I'll tell you why, because what they would do is all the things that we said, are nice, like the little nods to all the other kingdoms and all the other kind of realms and all this, they'd make spin-offs of, and it would be Spirited Away, and they all would feature the bathhouse, and we'd go and visit, and it would all be, and it would ruin this film because it isn't part of the mystery.
Spirited Away and Extra Slice.
Exactly. Joe Brandadose. Speaking of Joe Brand, we should move on to our next set of films.
Okay, what's your score out of 10 for this one?
Probably is a 7 out of 10, isn't it? Again.
Yeah, I feel like I've got 7 as well, but I feel like I'm giving 7 to every single film we review at the moment. It's an easy one to get out of.
Not the next few.
Yeah, but you can hedge on a 7. Do you know what I mean? It's quite an easy pivot.
It's probably 7.5. No, it's probably an 8.
It's closer to a 6.5 than a 7.5 for me.
No, I think it's 7.5.
No, and you're wrong. Okay, so Christmas special.
It's here, Christmas. So we started to fall. Yeah. Christmas.
If only we had the licensing and Dan didn't have to do that for us. Right.
Five more nights of sleeping. It's different. It's different tune.
So the first of the Christmas films.
3, 4, 2, 1 more sleeping. I can hardly sleep.
Is Christmas Office Party. In the new year, I think we're going to review the hosting chair. See if your chair's it's a bit hot, that seat. Let's put it that way, Dan. Might make it a bit more of a revolving guest appearance. Okay, so
anyway, I thought I was host today. So the first film is Office Christmas Party from 2016, and long may it stay there.
So this,
Luke, why don't you kick us off about it?
So the synopsis of this film is
we're doing this again.
Well, just the synopsis. Yeah, I'm not going to give you a play-by-play. A man's just got divorced. Dan, what's it? I'm casting director. I need someone to play an everyman. No, not Marty Freeman, an American everyman. And like he's just like the sort of center of the. No, not almost. No, we can't quite afford Matt Damon. He's the center of the storm, and everyone around him is a wacky comedy character. But we need someone just just to steady the ship.
Sort of a plain Jane.
A little bit plain Jane, but the mums like him.
Okay, Ethan Hawke. No, he's too rugged.
He's a bit rugged. He's a bit too art house. He's a bit too art house. Right. He's done sort of cool films.
Boyhood.
Come on, cool. You can get it now. You guy who I need. So the middle of the road. Actually, very talented comedic actor. But never.
Oh, Jeremy Renner.
Jason Bateman. We've got Jason Bateman for this one. That's okay. So anyway, as I said, he plays the Eye of the Storm, and everyone else, this sort of auxiliary cast, are incredibly annoying comedy characters. The synopsis of the film, as I was getting to, they're going to throw a Christmas party. He just got divorced. They're going to do something mental because their CEO is sort of the son of, deceased now, but it's been gifted to in this company. Doesn't really have any business chops, and he's just going to throw a big hell of a party.
This film has all the caricatures that are very in your face in the same way that
the trimmings, if you will.
Yeah. The same that Spirited Away avoids, or does it in a much more subtle and sophisticated way. Yeah, we knew what it was.
So
you don't have to wrap it up like a pig in blanket.
Sorry, I just didn't know how to present it to you.
Oh, right. Okay.
Sorry, I thought you had one. Okay. So, oh God, there's always one Scrooge.
So we'll start roasting each other.
Oh, come on now. Goodness me, that was a cracker. So there's always one
What's
Scrooge.
That? Is that a shell? What's on it?
Awful, right? There's always one Scrooge in these sort of films, and in this one, because she's 50, they have to give the most dramatic, sexy entrance anyway. So you forget her age in Jennifer Aniston. Yeah.
Like, you're talking about Jennifer Aniston. What about the sassy cop lady at the front?
All right. Sorry.
Just give me the permission. Give me the permission, and I'll go over to that Starbucks and tell them what for.
So
sassy.
Once again, we're not really talking anything about film structure or direction here. We're going to be picking up on all the bad parts because it's not very good. Very dated comedic references. The issue with this film for me is it feels like it's written by a big writing team. Like
Horses that come out camel with the 3 wise men on them, designed by a committee.
Correct. it just feels overworked. People have got their jokes here and there. It doesn't feel like a common thread. Imagine comedies never are, especially American comedies, because at one stage it'll be passed on to another writer and passed on, so people can add.
Can you improve on this? Layers.
Well, jokes.
Layers to this.
Yeah. It's like
the thing with this is, shut up, phone, not you. Although you should shut up sometime. It's just filmmaking by numbers, isn't it? We have all the characters, we drop them in. You know, you can see each individual storyline. The brother and sister, one's a loose cannon, the other one's tight wound. You know, he's going to teach her the meaning of Christmas, and she's going to, you know, probably instill a bit of work ethic. You know, it's just too easy. You've got the cool girl, techie girl.
Oh yeah,
you commented about how she swears.
No, oh right, I thought you were going to say the other joke that I didn't really want aired, but yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh, go on, talk about that then. Not the other joke that's not going to get aired.
Oh right,
this character.
Yeah, no, she swears every sentence. She keeps a room locked. Her whole posters are like Nirvana and stuff. She's so cool. She just whatever stereotype. These sort of films, you can sort of live within the margins a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I'm definitely going to pick on this other film we're going to talk about later. I don't want to talk about it too much, but for realism in comedies, you don't always have to go to the extreme. It's in what you kind of know, and maybe you do so these characters a little bit more. You see them every day. Like I had an encounter with someone the other day, and I thought, oh my god, this is literally like a film. This person's that mental, but it doesn't happen very often. And you don't really need to just everyone to just be that. Oh, I can notice that. It's the issue with these sort of films. These characters only now feel believable because we've seen them in so many fucking films.
Yeah, that's the film that's made them the stereotype. It's
exactly.
Not anything else.
It's not actually reality. But anyway,
but don't you think? But don't you think the problem is that most comedies have to hit these notes, don't they, to be funny? Because there is something intrinsically funny about somebody who swears a lot, or you know, somebody who's a loose cannon. Like think of all those kind of, like I know it's TV and we shouldn't talk about it, but think of your Charlies in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the wild card. Right. You know, where he screams and throws himself out of a bus. You know, that all that's funny. Thing in Mighty Boosh where the boss throws himself out of a window and just walks out. Do you know what I mean? There's humor in those kind of extremities. But the thing with this is the dialogue is just terrible. So you're constantly jarred by these characters are meant to be funny, but they're funny because they are situated in very normal, mundane things, and so they seem extreme. But when you add a layer of very extreme dialogue, that's not funny. So it's funny. The secretary who's a bit, you know, being all cutesy with a kid and then goes and has a massive rant to their husband. It is funny. That's a funny scene. But when the dialogue is, I'm going to come and do fucking, what did you get? Gone Girl on you. Like, that's not what you'd say to your ex-partner. If you put your whore stripper girlfriend on, I'm going to cut you up like Gone Girl. What? That's not a conversation. It's funnier if you...
That makes me feel like this is just a sort of film that just has to do at the cinemas. The fact that you're putting in dated references makes me feel that way. One thing I will give it credit for, to be fair to it, it feels like a Christmas film that warrants being made. A lot of these awful Christmas films that come out nowadays are just the same old storyline, just with Christmas sort of spewed onto it. Yeah. And just put it in a Christmas setting. This actually makes sense. A Christmas office party does sort of make sense.
Yeah, there
should be a film like that.
There.
And it seems like it's going to be about full debauchery, which is another sort of different angle. It feels like it's going to have a market. I think this is pretty well, not critically. I'm not sure, but I don't think it did well critically watching the first 15 minutes. But I'm thinking it did pretty well commercially, I think. And you can see why. Yeah, you can see this did quite well at cinemas, can't you?
But is it just like a tame Bad Santa? Is that sort of where it's at?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that tame.
Where does it sit?
I think it's... Yeah, we have to check its rating. I'm pretty sure it'll be a general 15, but I don't think it'll be meant... I think it'll have a bit of, edge to it. Well, maybe not. We'll see. So we're not going to watch that, are we?
Probably not.
Lovely. Krampus! Okay, so next film we're watching is Krampus, which I had not heard of. Apparently it's 6 years old. But I discovered it this year.
6 years old.
So Krampus is a horror Christmas film. Simple as that. It's a German folklore, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So Krampus is sort of the opposite. St. Nicholas, who is the predecessor or forerunner of Father Christmas. Mm-hmm. He goes around and gives toys if the kids have been good, and Krampus, the evil kind of goblin-esque demon, kind of Satan-esque, I
Goblin,
guess.
you read for the part, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I was too much. You know, when somebody's overqualified for a job, they said we want it subtler.
We've seen this. We've seen this Krampus before. We want something a bit different.
Less gay, they said.
Sure.
But he puts coal in the stockings.
Oh, wow. Lock your doors. You might get soot on the carpet.
Friedrich, how dare you get soot in our mat?
I feel quite bad for Toni Collette. Like, do you not think it's like another horror film? Collette. Do you not think like a casting director took one look at her and just thought, like, you've got a face for sadness, and now she's just being cast?
Toni Collette is like
in horror films.
If you married Toni Collette and Amanda Seyfried, you'd have two people, or you'd have a child whose eyes and mouths do all their acting for them. Do you know what I mean?
I think Toni Collette's like a Hollywood actress mixed with a mum. Do you know what I mean? She's sort of the Alison Janney vibe. Like, she got her success a bit later on, which is great. We need more sort of maternal parts. He backtracks, covers himself up there. But it does just feel slightly, which is good. Like, we don't want these. I for one don't want to watch completely stunning women on screen every single time. You know what I mean? Give me something a bit more authentic.
Well, we'll talk about that. We love it when we see models, don't we? Models. In fact, that's a great idea for a film. Like, models at Christmas.
Have we not? There's not been another podcast where we've done so much foreboding for the final film. It is honestly, it's a corker. I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, a sherry corker.
So let's give Krampus some credit. He deserves to talk about it.
No, I actually like this.
Right. Why?
I just enjoyed it because the foreboding, there was a lot of foreboding actually in this film. Like, immediately we see this woman making all these kind of German sweets, and I said she's going to be German, and she was German, and she's giving these very sort of long looks. What can I say? Nostradamus done. But I was worried it was just going to be another horror movie, and I said that to you, didn't I? But I think this perhaps
it will be, by the way,
different. Well, it will be, yeah, I know, but I don't know. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it more so than the other horror films that we reviewed quite recently.
That's a point for me. I don't know if this is by design, but let's give it credit. Let's say it is, benefit of the doubt. I couldn't pick up on the tone of horror. Like, it felt to me like it had been disguised as like a regular bad festive film.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that was on purpose. I think there was a few moments where you can clearly tell it was like leaning into stereotypes and stuff. And I think it was trying to just sort of make you forget. You go into the cinema, you probably know it's a horror film, whatever. You put it on Netflix, you know it's a horror film. But just give you 10 minutes, 20 minutes or so, just to nudge you off kilter, just so you think you forget.
Yeah, there was very little setup.
There's no setup, apart from a German grandmother. That's it. So only people that still fearful of the Germans for some reason in America would have some sort of like worried foreboding here. But for me, it didn't feel like it was setting up horror at all, which I quite liked. That felt, that was good. Well, we've talked about that before. How many times have we watched a bad film and went, imagine if just right now it turned on a sixpence?
Yeah.
How incredible would that be? Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping it has that impact when it does turn, but I don't think it will. I think it'll be people going to bed, noticing a few little things. I don't think it's going to have like a full impact, like Get Out. You know, when Get Out just starts, Get Out's amazing. That does bubble underneath the surface, but that turns, and it just turns incredibly well. I'm not expecting it to be on the same level as Get Out. Get Out's one of the best films of the 21st century, but I'm just hoping it has some oomph to it. You know, when it goes up in another gear.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Something I was going to mention, I've alluded to it before about family dynamic and talking about pushing to the margins. That was the reference to this film, like the in-laws that come and stay. They're sort of, I don't know, obnoxious to the extent where they're just blatantly rude. Like, these are just rude, horrible people. I know it's like, well, you got to put with them with once a year, but you wouldn't. These people are just genuinely nasty, horrible people, and you don't need to do that. You just have to have little remarks here and there.
But then in the same breath, didn't they? Sort of Toni Collette's character goes to, who is that woman?
The auntie.
You know, basically
it looks like Kathy Bates, like a bigger version of Kathy Bates.
It does look like Kathy Bates. But she does, there's elements of that. It's sort of a weird one, isn't it? It feels like it's in two camps, this film, two cramps. In that it's sort of on the edge of, like, I didn't actually, towards the end, I wasn't minding so much the stereotypes and these, you know, when they walked in, it was annoying. It was annoying because you're like, just, you wouldn't be like this. But
It's like every episode nowadays of Friday Night Dinner, which is a TV show. We're talking about TV again. We eventually will do a TV show because we like to talk about TV as well. But the first season was good. By season 4, I swear all that show is them stood in the fucking hallway as the neighbor comes round and they're all just talking in the hallway, bundling and stuff. It's just repeating that bit. Oh, it just made it.
Yeah, it has lost its edge, but
I thought you could have riffed me with that one.
No, I agree totally. But yeah, I liked it. I would want to watch it more than any of the horror films we reviewed in a horror week. And
yeah, that's true. I was pushing for it for the horror week. Presumably, the idea of the in-laws being so frustrating is the fact that you want them to die, and it makes you side with like Adam Scott and Toni Collette more. But
there were some so like you made the comment, didn't you, in the film? Why do they always American dads in comedies be on phones?
Oh yeah, I can't wait to watch a Christmas film where the American dad is not on a business call. Every single film they take a business call. Like what's
and they
going
always
on
have those
here?
big houses with sort of the Greek column arch doorways,
white houses.
Yeah,
always.
Basically, Home Alone. Imagine Home Alone house. That's been the hallmark for American suburbia.
I think any other week we'd kind of watch this. We'd give this a watch. You know what I mean? But
then, like a shotgun, like Chekhov's shotgun that appears in this next film, he's been blown out of the water.
It's his Father Christmas is Back. Now, this is a film I saw the opening titles to and texted Dan saying, we are doing this. We're going to do a different film for Christmas special in case. And this is coming to take its place. The opening, Dan, just try and describe the opening titles for the listener.
The opening titles are there is a reference that people might get. Like, I guess
they're stood in front
maybe
of the tree.
Like, at the end of a comedy or at the end of like the Brady Bunch or something like an end that.
Oh yeah, that's quite good. And guest starring.
Starring Jim whatever and
Davidson.
I was going to get Jim Bowen actually again, but he gets way too much.
It felt like Bad Panto at the end. They all come out one by one, and Buttons was played by Christopher Biggins or something. You know what I mean?
Now Biggins gets too much airtime.
But it was so basically in front of.
But that was sincere.
Tree, they all do a turn to the camera and smile, and it wasn't ironic. Like that's not ironic. That is genuine. That's just sincere. Yeah. I've got to quickly tell you about this. I've got to quickly tell you about this director. Okay. So this director, this is his third feature-length film he's directed.
Okay.
The first one was a Steven Seagal straight-to-DVD film.
Yeah.
And his only other film...
You could just say a Steven Seagal film.
Correct. Was a Gerard Depardieu high-octane action film featuring a then 66-year-old Gerard Depardieu that received 0 rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I know Rotten Tomatoes isn't the best barometer, but it's pretty good. For like an overall tone, 0. So that's his pedigree. This is the filmmaker.
What did the first one get?
I can't remember. I didn't check that out. I don't think that not been a Wikipedia page for a Steven Seagal film. You know what I mean? It's just rinse and repeat, innit? But it's appalling, this film. So basically, just quickly,
whoa.
4 sisters. They're all meeting, and Father Christmas is coming back because their surname is Christmas. Their surname is Christmas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because Father Christmas, who's going to come back, by the way, that's going to be Chelsea Grammer. He's in this film.
Chelsea. And then football on the brain.
What did I say? Kelsey?
Chelsea Grammer.
Oh, Chelsea. Kelsey Grammer.
Is that like posh London grammar?
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's a peripheral British actors that were sort of relatively famous in the 90s. Like Chris Marshall, John Cleese, Colin Quentin, Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I mean, I think you're generous to throw John Cleese into relatively famous in the 90s.
I know, but it's
not Muse.
Right. It's not many times I would say a child actor has outperformed a adult
fully grown
actor
adult professional.
But the lead actress in this film is
appalling.
Absolutely appalling. Like, it's an abomination how bad her performance is. I checked out her filmography. A lot of it consists of British soaps, one-off appearances of British soaps, and she's not done a film with a accredited Wikipedia page for 11 years. So I don't know how she got this role. Everything's way too much. It's way too up there. It's just like, Oh, what am I doing?
shrill.
What am I doing?
It's just a shrill performance. If wherever the pitch of shrill is, that's where it is. It sits there. It's very monotone, and that tone is shrill.
See, the feel of the film and the look of the film, it seems like it's been made like by A-level students. Everything looks too shiny. Yeah. It was like it's shot on a digital camera with 0 setting. There's not a cinematographer in sight. There's no way. Nothing's been lined up here. Nothing's been set up the day before. You know what I mean? As in blocked. No scenes have been blocked. Nothing has been done in this film. I said to Dan, it seems like this film has been shot in like an hour.
You won't have seen this point of reference, but it's exactly. It's just. Ant and Dec Saturday Night Takeaway. They do this whole thing now where it's like Ant and Dec are secret agents, and it's been going for like 4 years. And Mum and I would watch Ant and Dec Saturday Night. We would literally turn off at this point. It's appalling, and it's got a laugh track under it. I don't know if it's the laugh track in the audience or they put it in, but it's
like a dramatized segment.
Yeah, so they're Ant and Dec, and it's all, and they have all the celebrities. David Walliams appears, and all the kind of usual ITV crowd. Amanda Holden's there.
Yeah, of course she is.
And it's that, like, this is this film without the laugh track.
Right.
That's where this is kind of the budget of this film, or not the budget, but the production quality of this film.
Yeah, it doesn't have that sort of opulent sort of film lens, that sort of veneer that makes of quality.
The professional has done this.
Yes,
but then
exactly.
But then look at the cast. You've got all TV
has-beens.
Actors.
Yeah, all has-beens. Even Kelsey Grammer. I feel like Kelsey Grammer is got more. I don't know, acclaim in this country. Do you know what I mean?
Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow Bob and for Fraser. But I think that's pretty much what else has he done? I don't know what else he's done. He's got a lovely voice, don't get me wrong. And I love Sideshow Bob, really like The Simpsons. But I mean, whatever. Whatever. Yeah. Even he, I bet he didn't do long, by the way. I bet he got all his scenes done in 2 days, I guarantee it. Should we talk about
John Cleese hung around on set?
Oh, something I really wanted to mention is the short scenes.
Yeah, that's really good
in
point.
This film. Like, we kind of mentioned it a little bit with Spirited Away, how the scenes were allowed to develop and sort of they had confidence sitting within the scenes for a bit. In this, everything is incredibly short, like 30 seconds less than a scene. It's like kids' TV. Like, you basically shows you haven't written enough. You don't really know where to go. Jump to something else. But
also weird scenes, like the one where she goes and picks her kids up. Like, it's a minute, and the kids are stood there. You don't even realise there are kids. And then she gets out of the car, and one kid's got chocolate all around her face. She walked, "Oh, thank you, picking them up. I'm so busy. Oh, you're going to put the chocolate in your face or just right in your mouth? Mummy,
We keep seeing she's so busy. We don't actually ever see her do any work or carry any bags whatsoever.
Her husband does everything for her.
And her husband...
Talk of the husband.
Chris Marshall. So Chris Marshall is actually an okay performer.
He's a good comedy performer.
Yeah, no, he is. He is, granted. He isn't... This is just...
This is paycheck work, isn't it? This is, I need an extension, or I've got to pay off a bill or credit card.
I do feel sorry for him. What's he doing? What's his agent doing in this script? Like, what? They better had paid well. I know it's from Netflix, so maybe they did pay.
So he's just like, if you track his career, he's been on Death in Paradise, hasn't he? And he's just given that up.
That's our fourth TV reference of the podcast. Keeping track there.
It's more than that, we talked to Simpsons.
Oh yeah,
Fraser.
All right, yeah, good point.
It's just men behaving badly.
Yeah, it is. I was actually dying for ad-lib in this. I feel like everyone was staying to the script because they didn't have any.
Too much.
There was no enthusiasm or like sort of vim on set, I can imagine. So they're like, "Oh, chuck this line in, chuck that line in." I feel like there's one scene. Elizabeth Hurley. Oh, by the way, let's get to that point. Elizabeth Hurley, famous for being a model. The lead, whatever she's called, famous for being a model. The one that went out with Elon Musk, Riley, which is Tallulah Riley, something like that. Famous for being a model.
Irish.
Don't know why you're not hiring actors. Just keep hiring models, fine. Elizabeth Hurley turns to her nephew, and she's meant to give quite a sort of searing line. And nephew,
she's meant to be a bit of a witch.
Laughs. He laughs, and they just move on. They move
leave
on.
That take in. Won't do that again.
There's literally a shot. I've watched a little bit more of this film than Dan. 5 minutes later, they have a shot outside the building, right? It shakes around and moves at the end of the frame. They don't cut it, they use it. This is crazy. It's like a good chef uses every part of the animal, But like, they've got to leave some stuff on the cutting room floor. Do you know what I mean? Get rid of some of this stuff. I
You
understand
don't
the director's
use
out of
every
his
part of the
depth.
animal, but you don't put the hooves on the plate.
The director's so out of his depth here, but he's just the scenes are horrendous. But the editor can save a film. You can't save it, but you can make it a little bit better.
But then even the edit, it's proven that it's terrible because in the opening shot, to bring it full circle, they use the same shot of her going up the stairs.
Yeah, trying to show progression upstairs, and you're showing the first step twice. Oh my goodness!
There's a bigger ladder. Do you know what I mean?
This is it's appalling. Also, a quick game for you, Dan. Elizabeth Hurley. Obviously, she plays this sort of, what is she? The posh sister. I don't know what her vibe is. The sort of wag sister, whatever. And
Michelle Pfeiffer.
What about Michelle Pfeiffer?
How I imagine
she's a good actress.
But how I imagine she looks. I'm sure she's lovely, but she looks like
a bitch.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, that's the character she is. I've taken a swipe at Michelle Pfeiffer unnecessarily. She's just a bitch. That's her character arc.
Nancy mentioned Michelle Pfeiffer, the best surname in Hollywood, comfortably. Karen Quentin plays her mum. What do you know?
Not Michelle.
You're not interrupting me again. You fucking interrupted Michelle fucking Pfeiffer for no reason. Right. Elizabeth Hurley's the daughter.
About Stardust. She's so good in that. That's a very good film. We should review that.
Yeah, it's a transvestite. I didn't know when you like it. And Karen Quentin is the mum.
Robert De Niro.
What is the age gap in real life?
Is she younger?
Oh no, obviously she's not fucking younger. Have you seen the two of them? She's not younger, is she?
5 years in.
Yes. Correct. 56 and 61 is the age gap.
Elizabeth Hurley, 61.
Also, what the hell is happening to John Cleese's stomach? Mental.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beer belly. Insane. I don't know why he was so. I mean, I can see why he wanted to lie down because of the stomach, but you wouldn't want that on camera. Goodness me.
But he didn't look it when he walked in. He still moves well.
That gate. Where do you think this film's going to go? I've not done that for years. Where do you think this film's going to go? Yeah. Father's going to come. They hated him because he left them on Christmas. They remember from that. Oh, the amount of exposition. We got. Dan used to pick up on bags to pick up on that, and there was a hell of a lot of that.
What was the line? You know, Daddy, when Daddy left us and ruined Christmas. Yeah, everybody in the car knows that. Why are you spelling that out for us?
Oh, and finally, let's end it with this scene. Dan, can you try and talk us through?
Just quickly before you end.
Is it about Michelle Pfeiffer?
I was saving the word ham-fisted for these performances.
For lovers of continuity, there it is. And Dan, the scene where Elizabeth Hurley enters with her new fella.
Oh my God!
To rage about and Tallulah Riley.
Had this joke 4 times.
Kisses him on
time.
Kisses him.
No. So he's a different fella. So she's obviously such a kind of man-eater that we find out we thought Hamish was coming, but it's not. It's Francis.
I can't remember.
Sure. 4 times we hear that. She walks in and the fit one out of all her sisters sees, and she's like a punky biker rocker kind of one. Because that's another thing, they'll turn up. Yeah. Walks in, snogs him on the mouth. Absolute and he's looking flabbergasted. And Elizabeth Hurley says, "Down, girl." And she goes, "Woof." These are sisters. Like, what?
And then the guy's face in between the whole thing is just, he's staring down the lens of the camera. Just.
I've had my cake and eat it.
But as I said to Dan,
but this is a film, as you said about margins. This goes out of the margins and into a new level of.
Well, this is it. It's managed to be so bad that it has become good now. It's gone past that threshold. I'm invested in it now. I want to see it. Dan, for the fact that maybe, despite the fact we're doing this over Zoom, we're not in the same room, the amount we've spoken over each other's episode is crazy. It's proximity. I need to get to the back of the north of the country again, so we can don't step on each other's toes. We're watching that though, right?
Ouch. Yeah, we'll watch that probably tonight with pizza.
Sounds lovely. We were going to do 2 festive specials. We're not. We barely could find 3 films we wanted to do.
We might do one in the new year, but that's a push.
No, when we come back, which will probably be.
You're coming down again.
Yeah, we'll do one for the new year, but we're not doing Christmas films. We're going to do 3 good films. You're going to pick 3 very good films. Oscar films. Oscar season's coming up. We're going to do 3 Oscar films. Lovely.
Or maybe we should do new films we really should have seen, and you can finally watch Moonlight.
We will get around to it. And one
Moonlight
more.
for the Father, and Princess Mononoke's Kingdom.
And I know I shouldn't do this. I'm constantly over-promising and under-delivering. But we're going to do Don't Look Up, the new Adam McKay film with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence in, the new big one Netflix just comes out at Christmas. Yeah. That's going to be in the new next week's episode. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Have a very lovely Christmas. Everyone stay safe.
Very Merry Christmas to everyone. If you go on our Patreon, you can get some presents and stuff. We donate loads of money to the kids somewhere. But Merry Christmas. Well, no, just Merry Christmas, actually. We do a new year one. Bye.
Bye.